Got it. Islam. I am Brother Hasan Bey. All rights reserved.
Yay, yay.
And and we're coming at you with another AstroCivics Sunday. This is going to be a really, really, really good one. You guys are going to want to be right there with your pen and paper taking notes for this one. But you already know I'm here with my magnificent brothers, and they are.
Alrighty, y'all. Namaste. Islam. I am Brother Hasan Ghaziel Bey here in Morocco at Northwest of Maxim. How are you? Islam.
We also got with us the other bros, of course.
Islam, peace and love. Namaste. I am Brother Corey Bey in the digital building.
Exalted Cyclone.
Yo, wow.
Yeah, Islam, you know, peace and love to you all, man. I am Brother Shanalim L, man. You know all as well. Hey, bro, what was that? Y'all called me too. What was that, bro?
Braveheart.
Yeah, Braveheart.
Let's get it. I yield, bro. Do your thing, man.
Bro, yeah, so as you guys probably know, we're already in the Zoom, doing what we do, always putting in work, right? So not statutory work, right? We're not employed for like in the state or nothing like that. But we do a lot of work to make sure that everybody has what they need, I guess. As far as our loved ones, for ourselves and our loved ones, primarily, because if we can't be in a position to be able to share this with you guys, then you wouldn't get it, because I see a lot of people are not taking it serious. They're thinking that they're gonna keep playing games with Mother Nature. They think that they're gonna keep playing games with the truth. They think they're gonna keep playing games with the living beings on the land, but that's not what's gonna happen. Actually, what's gonna happen is they're gonna realize that they're screwed no matter what they do. And they're gonna try to hypnotize you guys back under their hypnosis, where they can tax you to death and continue to try to manifest more abominations on the planet. But so yeah, we're definitely here so that we can share again that which you need. So I advise everyone to get pen and papers for this one, or at least if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to Seven Hill Stars YouTube channel so you can get notified, so that you can have that record of all the videos we've done, not just this one. But I think we just hit 300, right, bro?
That was on like Monday, I think.
Islam, yeah. So
we were like 303.
Yeah, I haven't even watched them all. So
303, yeah, 303.
But I know
it was a Monday, but yeah, I think we're at this is 303, bro. Yeah.
303.
Wow. Yeah, I yield, bro. Do your thing, man. Yeah, that's actually very true. That's
big shout out to Lawful Living, Mother Malika, right? Everybody over there at the Jurisprudence Gym, because she shares something with us, as she always does. She's always coming with that fire, you know what I mean? Like, in actuality, she's making some of y'all look, like you guys don't study. Like, she's running laps around some guys. So that claiming,
we need to ad lib for Lawful Living. Why are you talking to me? There we go.
Oh, wait till you hear this bar that I put in. Oh no, you actually did hear. I dropped that already.
Yeah.
I said I said many jurisprudence gems, or the jurisprudence gym. Get your mind fit and fitted for the prudence and the wind. Islam. So yeah, we're definitely gonna go over. We got a video, I guess, to show you guys today. I know we do that sometimes. We pull out a video and then we analyze it. I think one of the most watched ones was when we went over that former judge, I believe it was. Ryan, what was her name?
Eric, Randy Lynn Erickson.
Right. So yeah, today we did that also with the Circo, right? We
Yeah,
watched that. So
yeah.
sometimes, yeah, we like to go over these videos and just to show you guys, like, you know, this stuff is they say it's a secret, you know what I mean? But it's really not a secret. It's all public information. You could look it up. So, you know, we talked about in the last live we did on Friday, impromptu improv. We talked about, what do you think about the statues or whatnot? And you're gonna see here when you watch this video that, you know, it's basically telling you, like, we have a means to find out what the law is. Dude, we don't have to be sitting here debating, arguing what the law is. What are we debating for? I'm not gonna debate with no one what the law is. If you try to initiate legal statutory process against me for whatever reason, knowing that I'm not in that construct, there's going to be repercussions. I'm going to make sure that you're held accountable for what you're doing. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to.
In terms of Brother Taj, somebody's got to get fired. Okay, I yield.
Exactly. Like, that's why I just told somebody that today. Like you're trying to lose your job. Like, why are you trying to lose your job? Like, you don't even know what I'm talking. Like, man, these people are funny because they've been in a mindset their whole life, and then when you come with reality, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you reveal to these people, you know, you've been eating shit sandwiches, not peanut butter sandwiches, right? They kind of like, they get shocked for a second, and then, it's not a shit sandwich.
I don't eat.
It don't smell like shit.
I don't eat dookie sandwiches.
Yeah, so people are, and they're very defensive as well. Like, they think that because the state has laws and, you know, internal policies and stuff like that, that it applies to everyone. Just because they do business here, they think that it applies to everyone. That's not true.
If that's the case, if I see anybody with a ball in their hand walking down the street, I'm blowing a whistle and saying they're traveling.
Right. Anybody got a basketball just walking down the street, you're traveling.
No, any ball. Doesn't even matter if
any
it's a
type of ball. Oh yeah. You're gonna apply the basketball rules to any sport, any game. Like, come on. I'm not even in that sport, and you're trying to. Speaking of sports, that reminds me of when they said a passenger is someone who uses a some type of lift that's only used for skiers.
Exactly.
Yo, it's like you're trying to treat me like I'm on this flat mountain using a skiing devices or whatever. That's not the case. So I think one of the main hypnosis that needs to be, you know, that people need to shake themselves off of is the fact that they think that what words mean in law is what they mean in their everyday usage. That's not true.
Correct.
You think a person is just a man or a woman, when in reality a person includes all type of legal entities, and mainly it means legal entities, because if they're really talking about a living being, then typically they would say natural person, or they would just say person implies natural person as well, but still it would still go back to natural person.
That's why we say in full life after natural person, so it can distinguish that we're not talking about someone naturalized as a member of some membered entity of some sort. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's brothers. Okay, good. Now we all here. So that's how sauce.
The hand is complete. The fist is complete.
Exactly.
Islam to the bros.
Islam.
So yeah, like that hypnosis that people think, like, you know, their understanding of it, and it's so crazy because it's like, if you're calling the police, there are prerequisites that it's just like a sufficient pleading. You better be calling with authority. You better be calling them to speak to them about something that they have authority over, not something that is none of their damn business. You can't.
That out.
You can't. You don't know people. You haven't witnessed any crimes. Why are you calling this agency to deal with one of their own if you don't know if that's one of their own?
Correct.
Are you presuming that I work for the police department? Why would you call the police on me? That's like saying, that's like you work at Walmart, right? And like you do something, right, that I want to report you, but I go call Best Buy. I call Best Buy and report to the Best Buy manager that the Walmart employee is not doing what he's supposed to be doing. Like, he doesn't work for us. I don't know why you're calling Best Buy for a Walmart employee.
Flat out. So in other words, the people that are behind the wheel of their land conveyance shouldn't have, you know, the police involved in any business dealing with their private mode of conveyance. So it's like, you want to travel, you want to go where you want to go. You're not someone who's registered with the state. You don't have a state license plate or a state registration. Guess who's not supposed to be talking to you?
The state public worker, official, agent, anything.
County, city, there's a county sheriff, city police department. As soon as they begin to open any type of correspondence or interaction with you, they are doing one of two things: either asking for you to help them with something, or they're trying to administer your rights and say you do not have the free will self-determination to think and or move for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Stand over here, move over there. Let me see. You got an ID. Where are you going? What are you doing? Mind your fucking business. If you don't know who I am, if you don't know who I am to the point that you have to ask me to identify myself, then there's all, just by you admitting you don't know who I am, that creates a presumption that you don't know if you even have authority to talk to me.
Which means there's no indictment.
Exactly. There's no indictment.
One hasn't been indicated, and you're asking me for ID. You want me to be an accomplice to breaking the law. I can't be a witness against myself. Now you want me to break the law? That's the Fifth Bill of Rights. I can't be a witness against myself.
Yeah, the first things first is, who are you? And who are you claiming to be on behalf of right now? When you talk to me, who are you talking for? Are you talking for yourself? Obviously not, because you're wearing a fucking uniform and titty metal, as the bros likes to call it.
Titty metal.
You got the shiny badge on, you know, representing the state, like you flagging your colors or something, right? You repping your corporation, right? And you're talking to me. It's like somebody walks up to you with any uniform on, you know what I mean? It ain't no different, because the police are employees. They're not officers. Oh, you guys are law enforcement, aren't you? They're not really that either.
Law enforcement is in front of your face right now on YouTube. I dare somebody say I'm not a law enforcer, and then I will immediately invoke that you sealed your fate to have the worst experience in your life from this point on. So mote it be.
Period, because they're disrespecting the ancient forefathers culture, and that doesn't go without punishment. You don't
flat out
violate sincere beings with a purpose, with a mission, because you are in your feelings. And an officer is distinguished from an employee. It's written in the law. Like again, like you're gonna see in this video. We have a means to find out what the law is. There's nothing to debate. Now, your interpretation of it's not a interpretation of it, unless it's your missing. Yeah, it's my interpretation of it. It's your misinterpretation of it, because you're misinterpreting it. And you know, I was thinking, man, I be having a lot of good thoughts, you know, about new angles and new ways to explain things to people who are hard-headed, people who don't comprehend, because at the end of the day, we're just dealing with people that are probably ignorant, probably under some type of coercion. Who knows? We don't know what their circumstances is when they clock in and they show up at their job. But to me, you should quit your job if you're under coercion. I don't want to hear none of that. You got to do what you got to do, or you're just doing your job. You're violating beings for Federal Reserve notes. That's a problem. That's a problem. You're violating beings for Federal Reserve notes, private commercial paper, private military script, fiat.
So people don't really realize, I think, because it's not a practice culture out there, that when you're not already indicted by a grand jury, you're being asked to be a witness against yourself.
Why didn't they just pick up Trump? Why didn't they just go lock him up? Why did they have to do the indictment first? How come he didn't just, you know what I mean? How come they didn't just pull him over and lock him up?
Because they can't.
So people are gonna have to realize that no one's really like gonna come to your aid and do all your thinking for you. And I know that that's been the practice for a lot of years. That's the culture that they've adopted. They've strayed, you know, and after the, you know, the gods of Europe, and have gone outside of themselves looking for a savior. And anytime they need something, they go outside of themselves for someone else to do it for them. So it's like, and even it's to the point where even the, you know, these so-called law enforcement, that's what they do. Everyone, as soon as you start talking like this, as soon as you start telling them what the law is, you know what it is. It doesn't matter if they disagree with you or not. That's what people fail to do. I told him what he said, but it didn't faze him. What do you mean it didn't faze him? You told him, okay, you told him what? I told him the law. And what happened? It didn't faze him. He's still trying. So now you're telling me, what you're telling me is that you told them what it was, so you gave them knowledge and notice of what the law was, and they told you they were going to violate it anyways? And then you got scared because of that? Or
not only are they violating the law, they're also seeking to administer your free will, which is your unalienable birthright. So since they didn't compensate you before seeking to commandeer your rights,
your
right?
Time, all of that.
Right? So that is unconscionable eminent domain, because with eminent domain, one's supposed to compensate you first for your property. Your rights are your property. So when they're trying to administer that you can't do self-determination, free will stuff, and they need to be ones that are public agents who are seeking to be trustee, or they're belligerents. They're belligerent trustees pertaining to their public trust amongst themselves, and then trying to drag in beings to be adjudicated upon with their shit that doesn't belong to the beings that they're trying to adjudicate upon. They run you off the road. At the end of the day, I know some people, you know, are cowards, and a lot of times cowards say shit like this. You can't have corn on the side of the road. They're gonna try to shoot you or do something to you. That's what cowards say. Someone who knows what to do, you're going to make a decision. You're going to do one of two things. You're either going to already have 911 dialed as soon as somebody throws their lights on, the signal to get you off the road, and you're going to call for a supervisor to come to your location. If you're on a highway, you're already checking mile markers.
That's a wink.
What'd you say?
It's like a hint, hint, hint.
Yeah, flat out. That's what you're going to do. You're going to be calling 911 already, because you know you did nothing wrong and someone's signaling you for their help. So it must be a bruised donut somewhere at fucking 7-Eleven or some shit and spilling jelly profusely. And so they must need a napkin or some shit. So you're going to call 911 to make sure that they get the assistance, because they're signaling for you. And I don't know why they're calling you to help them with their spilled coffee and bruised jelly donut when they should be calling for their own supervisors for assistance. Because when you're at Walmart and you don't understand something at the cash register, you call for a manager. So that's what we're going to do for them. We're going to help them make sure they know who the fuck they really need to be, you know, calling. Seriously, maybe they have some ghosts to bust and we have to call Ghostbusters for them. So maybe that's what, I don't know. So with that being said, yeah, we're dialing 911. and we're going to ask for a supervisor to come to either the intersection of wherever we are, whatever street location, because they comprehend post office indications, termed addresses. So that's what we'll do for them there. We'll make sure they have that post office identifier. If it's someplace where you're not in an intersection or whatever, however, we're going to make sure that we do have those beings come there. You know, we're not going to ask them to do anything. 9 times out of 10, if you're really brave enough, you will step outside of your land conveyance, just like if you know your land conveyance is an extension of your home.
That's what I did.
Yeah, and lock your land conveyance doors, just like you would step outside your, your home and close the door behind you, because you're not allowing them to cross the threshold of anything. Oh, I'm gonna roll down a window. No, you can't stick your little stinky ass fingers across the threshold of my window. Period. I'll step outside. How may I help you? You need some help, obviously. You know, you threw on your emergency lights. What's the emergency? Oh, you're asking for private information? Oh, well, I can't be a witness against myself. You're asking me to break the law. And I know that if you working for whatever city department, you guys are under the purview of some municipal code, which must be in harmony with the state statutes, which is actually being derived from the state constitution, which must give effect to the federal constitution, which therein lies the 5th Bill of Rights. And you're asking me to break that? Just want to know for the record, because I have 911 on here. And this is a recorded call in which I will put in a request to get this recording. So can you say it loud and proud what you're asking for today? Speaking to the microphone.
Sir, in the state of Maryland, you have to.
Again, are there indictment papers that I'm someone that is contracted with an oath and an autograph certified statement that says I'm doing trade or business, which is performing functions of public office? All right.
Have a good day. Have a good day. Have a good day. He goes.
That's what it's going to have to be.
He goes back to his cruiser and realizes shit. He wasn't engaged in foreign interstate commerce. He wasn't a resident citizen, statutory person subject to the policies I enforce. Not a big deal. You ain't got to cry about it. Just get back in your cruiser and go
find a dummy to rob, because it's not going to be today or any of us competent Moorish Americans that are clear that we're not doing foreign trade or commerce. We're not performing functions of public office at the pleasure of the governor of any so-called state of corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Period. That's what it is. That's not being a smart ass or I'm gonna tell you. No, I would much rather speak very calmly to these beings as I'm saying it too.
The whole process is bullshit, bro. Like that. Mm-hmm. That whole process is straight bullshit. The complainant is serving the complaint personally in the moment without a court even looking at it. What the fuck are you talking about? You giving me a ticket with a summons, with a complaint, with a bill of attainder, with a invitation, with a what is this? What are you doing? What type of fraud are you trying to get me to participate in?
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I said I know better. And since I know better, to give you ID and you don't already have a grand jury indictment, that means you're not supposed to be talking to me. We don't have a contract. We're unfamiliar to one another. So what are you doing today but trying to violate Bill of Rights for? That's for me to be secure in my person's house's papers and effects.
Yeah. And be as a Moor, that's forced assimilate. You're trying to force me to assimilate to your practices, your customs, traditions, and beliefs. I'm not conforming to your thought process in your state. I don't have that's forced assimilation. That's not happening.
Flat out. I mean, it can be said no other way. Like that's exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying? However, I know we're going to do, guys, I appreciate, I'm pretty sure you all appreciate the dialogue. However, this is a meeting. And in every meeting, we're going to open up with our invocation in. I'm pretty sure Brother Hasan Bey is going to do our invocation in terms of Moorish American prayer. The Exalted Cyclops, Brother Corey Bey, is going to do the first letter to be read in every meeting. And the second letter to be read in every meeting will be read by Brother Shanalim L. All right, in Braveheart style. So with that being said, I'm going to do the screen share here. Any other questions, comments, and or suggestions before I bring up the invocation in? All right.
Nah, just people don't be scared to break the hypnosis.
Islam.
Just because it has went along for so long, just don't make that shit right. Well, because they've been doing this and it just shows you how long they've been wrong. So let's fix this. Let's be sincere. And let's change your mindset.
Strengthen that your mind, strengthen your concepts in your mind. Just make that mind stronger. I heard someone say if you're only doing stuff on the internet and you're not active, you're not on the ground, you know what I mean, out here communicating it to the people, then you're not doing anything. Bullshit. Because what we're doing is we're uplifting the minds of the people. It doesn't matter where that mind is on the planet. If that mind is getting corrected and is getting into its proper thinking, the way it should be operating, then we're doing an excellent work here on the planet. And so the internet is an excellent tool for that. And it's so funny that one would actually say something that foolish on the internet. Like you're saying that on the internet.
Right.
To add to what I'm saying, whoever said that, the first thing that came to my mind is they're mad that we didn't invite them to come on here with us.
Exactly.
That's all that is. It's like, I wish I was there.
It's a funny story behind that, because I just seen the notification that was live and stuff, and I started blowing up the chat with the law and stuff like that. You know, like, why are people acting like public agents? You know, da 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 da. And then at one point they said something about black, and I was like, come on now, you know nobody's black. When people started liking all my comments days later, because I guess the comments are still there, right? I was getting notifications, and when I went back to see what some people were responding to what I said, the only comment that I realized that was not there anymore was the one about me saying people are not black, which was very interesting.
People be with the bullshit, bro.
Very interesting how that particular comment disappeared, because I've been on this particular character's helmet. You know, not necessarily, I don't really, you know, mess with people, but you know, I question people when they claim to be someone that's here to teach the people or whatever, but in reality, you're still using language that is keeping people in bondage. It's a names and principles that allude to slavery, that they're assisting others in clinging to those names and principles. So I'm calling you out. And then if you're so real and you're doing this, you're doing that, you got these things, you could come on, anybody could come on, help you and join your shit and make it bigger so we could spread this message for whatever. Then why is it that when you get addressed about calling Moors black, you don't have nothing to say? You're so intelligent, such a scientist, but you don't know that there's no such thing as a black people, unless you're talking about pale skins.
Correct.
You're not that fucking smart, or you're an agent. And then for my comment to get deleted out of all of that, it's like, interesting. Take note of that. We're watching. The whole world's watching. Everything's happening at once.
Flat out.
Think people don't see what's, you think we don't see what's happening?
And I'm going to add to your wisdom about that question. It really doesn't matter if we are in personam teaching the people or, you know, via the internet teaching the people. If they're not ready to get it, it doesn't matter. We can show them everything. And if their energy is not ready to receive, or if they're not ready to let go of that mindset, it's just going to fall on deaf ears. So yes, it doesn't matter either way. If they're not ready, they're not ready. Whether
you're actually wasting time doing groundwork, when in actuality, the obviously the internet allows you to communicate faster. You know what I'm saying? It allows you to reach more people faster. So what are you really saying? It sounds, don't you know that the way that the people think right now, the way that they're indoctrinated, right, to think, you think that they got taught that in person? Yeah, they might have had a missionary or two come knock on their door or whatever, but for the most part, it was through the TV that these people got indoctrinated, which is similar to the internet. They weren't actually there. So if a whole freaking society of people could be made to think a certain way based off of a TV, then what makes you think that doing work online and reaching out to the masses online is doing nothing?
Correct.
Because if just one being in your territory knows how to think, that one being, the internet could go out tomorrow. That one being now, yeah, he's going to be out there. Hey, this is how you do it, guys. You know what I mean? This is how you do it. This is how you dig a well. This is how you do what you got to do. You know what I mean?
Flat out.
That's why I said it doesn't matter where on the planet, you know, people are getting this from. You know what I'm saying? Or people are getting this. if we could have one more become sincere. Hey man, I've been watching you guys for 2 years, and now I'm a faithful, true, sincere Moor, and I don't let these people play with me no more. And what I'm saying, I exercise my dominion now, and these people, I've corrected the record, so to speak. And so now, I notice the difference. I see how I'm being treated now. I see that it's a lot more respect on it, on what I do and who I am now that I've become competent, right? And it's like man, that's wonderful, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care where you're at. I'm glad that you got that and that you can teach that to your loved ones.
Yeah, because that's what it's about. It's not about kissing our ass and being a groupie or a fan of us. You know what I mean? It's not about that at all. It's really about you and your loved ones, and being able to take the principles pertaining to what we're sharing and be able to really, 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 really protect yourself and your loved ones. I yield.
Islam, are you ready for this invocation?
All right, let's do that, man. Share that. I was just sharing on the Facebook. I'll come back and share some more in a bit. All righty, let's do this invocation in, guys. You guys, we're going to stand facing east. We're going to stand like Prophet Noble Drali's feet is at a 45. If you guys can see that, it's on a 45. You can see the shine on the tip of his toes at a 45 type of degree there, right? So standing on his square, of course, in his abba, standing due guard, actually, in his Moorish Sharif's fez. And we're going to face east, which is symbolic of going within, right? So we're facing directional east, physikally speaking, with our feet on the 45, all 5 appendages on the left hand extended, just the index and middle appendage on the right extended. And we can repeat after Brother Ara, either aloud or silently in our hearts, the Moorish American prayer. Islam. Islam.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
By day.
And by day.
Through his holy prophet.
Through his holy prophet.
Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali.
Amen. Wow.
Amen. All right, the exalted Cyclops, right? As you guys just see, we just read here, actually from Brother Ara just read from page 48. All right, for the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, administrative functions, right? Pages 48 and 49. You see on 49 where our authority is. We're going to go to page 84 and 85. All righty, which is, 84 is the reverse of 48. And it's pretty cool, right? Anyway, 84 and 85, the exalted Cyclops, Brother Corey Bey, will be reading this particular letter. The following is a letter written by Prophet Noble Drew Ali on the 18th day of January, 1928, Anno Domini. He commanded it be read. He commanded that it be read, all right, before every meeting. And taking it over here to page 85, the Moorish Holy Temple of Science Administrative Functions. You can grab this book from rvbaypublications.com. It's not listed in the books to get. Just email RV Bay orders, and I'm pretty sure in some way, shape, or form, Mother Mariah V. Bay will be able to get you a copy for your library. Brother Corey, are you there? Islam, beloved brother. We yield the floor to you.
Islam, administrative functions. I'll begin at Moorish Science Temple of America, Home Office 3603 Indiana Avenue. Noble Drew Ali, founder, Chicago, Illinois State Republic, January 18th, 1929. To be proclaimed in every meeting. Dear brother, Islam, I am glad to know that I have few faithful Moors among you, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy, quote unquote, about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as an American citizen. They are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that contribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that pay their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it bad. Never before have I needed finance as badly as I do at present, that I may shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my quote unquote fame and nobility, end quote. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being the head. It has been proven by my work in which I have performed in the last few months, because I was at the governor's inauguration to represent the Moorish divine and national movement. And I will be at the inauguration of President Hoover for the same cause. Noble Drew Ali. Islam.
Islam, bro. And next, Brother Sean Alima will be reading from the Moorish literature, excerpts from the Moorish Guide newspaper, pages 12 and 13. 12 has Prophet Noble Drew Ali, again, handsomely standing due guard on his square, of course, right? In his Moorish Sharif's fez, in his Abba. So with that being said, we're going to zoom in here on page 13, and we're going to yield the floor to Brother Braveheart L as he reads the divine warning by the prophet. I yield.
Islam, divine warning by the prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Prophet warns all Muslims. Governors ordered to read a proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its due course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. You slap me up some burrows, yeah?
Of course I can.
All right. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet in the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. By order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Islam. Excelente, excelente. So, guys, I guess we're just going to cut to the chase here, right? And we're going to go to this YouTube video right here, right? And so, I guess it's presented by Clearly Established Laws, the YouTube page. This was shared in the Jurisprudence Gem Telegram, right? In the Lawful Living Telegram by, I think, the account that shared it. They call themselves on their particular account handle, Not a Guru. And immediately when I saw it, I was like, let me share this with bros. We've been binging this 9-minute video basically all morning, like most of the morning. I know we're, clearly in the afternoon now, or observing what we call the afternoon now, right? So we were looking at this, and this is obviously on whoever Clearly Established Law is, right? Let me give them a like, right? And let me give them a subscribe, right? And we'll just see whatever videos they got there. I guess some time went on. However, this one in particular, Trinzi v. Pagliaro, right? We're going to listen to this 9.5-minute video. All righty. I'm going to let it play through one time, and then we're going to go back and play it again, right? So while I was playing the first time, I'm going to use the Moor's room. So we're just going to let it play through one time, and then we're going to go back and we're going to play it again. And then we're going to point out some key things that are said here. And then we have 2 websites that we're going to look at. All righty. That is basically analyzing this. We're going to look at the case text for Trinzi v. Pagliaro, right? And then we're going to also look at some tools that are used to teach children some things pertaining to this, all righty, as far as jurisprudence, all righty. So again, shout out to the 3 websites you guys only need to be having your energy tied up with. One is rvbaypublications.com, which is where we all got our start from, as far as the Moors Heritage and History School, right? Then 7hillstar.com, guys, go there and make sure you sign up for our email list. All right, so you can get that email every Thursday and other special things that are there also. And the third one, provided you're strong enough and being solid, being Moorish American, and knowing that no matter where you go, you're Moorish American going in, and when you leave, you're Moorish American coming out. You never denationalize yourself. So after rvbaypublications.com and 7hillstar.com, make sure you are a part of the jurisprudence gem to further exercise your jurisprudent mind at lawfulliving.com. All right. And so with that being said, I yield the floor. Let me press it to playeth here.
One of the things about the law business, the legal industry, is some of the most important things about law are actually so simple that they're easy to overlook. And there are only about 4 very simple truths. And if you know and understand these truths, you will be empowered to win. Here's the first great secret. Where does the court get its jurisdiction? We have a 2-tiered court system. There are the Supreme Courts and their tribunals. There are courts of inferior jurisdiction. When we're talking about Supreme Courts, like the United States Supreme Court and the Oklahoma Supreme Court, where do they get their jurisdiction? They get their jurisdiction because of who they are. But what about these courts of inferior jurisdiction? Where do they get their authority? The courts of inferior jurisdiction are empowered to act by pleadings sufficient to invoke their judicial authority, which means that the people, not the attorneys, the people that walk into that court empower that person in a black robe to be a judge.
Listen closely to what this guy just said. It is earth-shaking and game-changing. It puts the ball in your hands. What is he saying exactly? An injured human being has to show up in court and testify under oath that they have been injured, period. Prosecuting attorneys testify like they are the injured party, and they are not the injured party. They don't get to testify because they are not the ones injured, but they do it all the time because no one puts them in their place. Trinzi versus Pagliaro states statements of counsel in brief or an argument are not sufficient for summary judgment. If the judge doesn't like it, it's too bad. The Supreme Court, this is a Supreme Court ruling, and basically what it's saying is to the lawyer, shut up and sit down. You don't get to testify.
Jurisdiction has 4 corners on it. It's a 4-legged table. And if you take away one of those legs, it's not a court anymore. You win when you know how to invoke the court's jurisdiction, when you empower that judge to make the decision that you want that judge to make. That's the second great secret, is the Constitution, state constitutions, statutes, laws, rules. What meaning do they have as you read them in their black and white print. They don't really mean anything except a hint, a suggestion of what the law is. Well, we have a common law system. The Supreme Court tells you what that means. To find out what the law is, we have to find out what the Supreme Courts have said that that particular law means. Now, that's the second great secret. We have a means of finding out what the law is. It's written down. Where do we find the common law? It's the federal and state annotated statutes. Because, again, that's a secret. They don't want you to know that. If you can read the annotated statutes, now you know what the law is. The state annotated statutes. Those annotated statutes are going to tell me what the law is. But they're going to publish the holding. They're going to tell you the essence of that decision. And that essence of that decision, out of that case, is that one paragraph, that one sentence, or maybe just that one phrase that you need to win, and that's all you need. Trinzi versus Pagliaro is one of the most important cases that has ever been decided by the United States Supreme Court. But Trinzi versus Pagliaro is absolutely earth-shaking. The holding of Trinzi versus Pagliaro, statements of counsel in brief or argument are not sufficient for a summary judgment. Take it to heart, memorize it, get a tattoo that says that. Because that is one of the most important principles on law, in law. And that is one of the most powerful things that you will ever learn and have to use. That's according to the United States Supreme Court. But that one-fourth thing that has probably been missing 50 million times in this country when we got shafted in the court was a competent witness. Where's the competent witness? That's the fourth leg on that table. That table doesn't have four legs. That court did not have jurisdiction. Period. You've got to have somebody at some point in time before the judgment raise their hand and testify under oath and subject to cross-examination, or it's nonsense. If the other side supports their pleadings with an affidavit, which they rarely do, but if they do, you subpoena that witness because you want to question him under oath. And the idea that is the kernel of truth in Trinzi versus Pagliaro is a thread that runs through everything. Criminal, civil, it runs through everything. Administrative, it's got to be there. It's got to be there. How do I know? Here is a very good statement. And again, this is from an annotated statute. Actual facts, not mere allegations of complaint, are determinative of issue of jurisdiction. Isn't that what I just said? If there's no witness, there's no facts. If there's no facts, there's no what? No jurisdiction. It's not what I think. I think it, but it's not true because I think it. It's true because it's the law. It's the law because the Supreme Court says yes, yes, you've got to have a competent witness to have that fourth leg on that table, or there's no jurisdiction.
So you get into a courtroom, you're sitting in court, and the prosecuting attorney stands up and he says, Mr. Johnson was caught urinating on the next door neighbor's pet. You stand up and you say, if you're Mr. Johnson, you stand up and you say, I object, Your Honor. Trinzi versus Pagliaro. Statements of counsel in brief or an argument are not sufficient for summary judgment. See, the lawyer wasn't there. He doesn't know. He didn't see you piss on the neighbor's dog. He don't know what he's talking about. It's all hearsay. So you stand up and you object, and you do this 3 times. And on the 3rd time, if the judge doesn't catch on, you take exception to it. And then later on in the course of the legal proceedings, you bring it back to that, and it'll get tossed out. There's no doubt about it. It's a slam dunk case. This isn't my opinion. This is Supreme Court rulings. This is the most powerful thing you could ever think of. And here's the thing. It does not matter what you are in court for. It doesn't matter if you're in a criminal court. It doesn't matter if you're in a civil court. It doesn't matter if you're getting sued for money or if you're getting sued for murder, or if you're getting sued. It doesn't matter what it's for. You have to have a competent witness stand up and testify and say you injured him. The lawyer doesn't get to do it. In another case, a lawyer might get up and say, Mr. Flintstone stole 72 cases of paper clips. And he's just reading from his paper there. That's when you stand up and you say, objection, Your Honor. Statements of counsel and brief for an argument are not sufficient for summary judgment. It's that freaking simple. The guy's got to sit down. He does not get to get up there and talk negatively about you. He don't know you. He doesn't get up there and get to say what an evil person you are because he has no first-hand knowledge. You can read it out of it's like he's reading it out of the daily newspaper. He's an idiot. And it's your job, if you want your freedom, to stand up to him and say, I object, and state Trinzi versus Pagliaro. It's that simple, folks.
All righty. So let's bring this back to the beginning, right? Let's check the chat real quick, right? Let's do that. Let's check the chat real quick. I know I'm sharing this out all over Facebook right now. But let me come back and check the chat just very briefly and see who's all here. Hey, Tyro Bay says peace and love. So peaceful greetings to you all, right? Mother Sahar says peaceful greetings to all. It tastes good. Mother Sahar is hilarious. Mother Carmisha says peace and love, Muslims. Indeed, Mother Carmisha. She said the donuts. That's what she's talking about when we was talking about, why they're pulling you over on the side of the road, right? That's what she was saying. It tastes good, right? The donuts, right? Mother Carmisha says perspective as fuck. She says she's taking notes, right? Mother Energy is here with us also in the chat. Islam to you, Mother. She says someone who's termed Elder Musa gave this to her a minute ago. Old Richard Cornsworth. She did enjoy his presentation. Indeed, the 4-leg table. Okay, so I think that's who she's saying is in the video. Richard Cornsworth or Cornsworth. Paperwork must precede, quote unquote, you, right? Must precede ye special appearance, right? So yeah, indeed. So peaceful greetings to you all. Let's analyze this video. And it's not going to take us long. I just know how sometimes we can take a 2-minute video and do a 2-hour discourse. So we're not going to do a 9.5-hour discourse on this video because the points that we're going to make are going to be in brief, and we're going to really hit these points that are really necessary. So that everyone can really comprehend what it is that we're saying, and put your opinions in the chat as we go. As you guys are doing, we totally encourage upstanding interaction in the chat. That's what these things are for. That's why you go live, so people can talk in the chat. Just if you're a troll and we don't fuck with you, 9 times out of 10, we're gonna probably block your dumb ass. You say something stupid, just warning you in advance. If you're someone from the past that's actually been on some fuck shit and you see we won't read your comments, is because we're letting you know you on some fuck shit. And we was on to you back then. So I don't care who you were in the past and how you thought then. I don't give a shit. You still owe us an apology. You're going to have a meeting of the minds first before I start. Because what people try to do is they'll take like us saying their appellation or reading their comments. See, he fuck with me. No, we don't. We're running a YouTube channel. The ones that we do fuck with, they know who they are that's in the chat. You see what I'm saying? Like, seriously, but if you're a nobody and we don't really know who you are, you'll even hear in my tone how I'll read your comments at times that I don't really know you. You know what I mean? Let's just keep it a buck. All right. Okay, and Mother Energy does say it's Richard Cornworth. Got you. Richard Cornworth. Okay, got you. Who's in the video giving this presentation. So let's observe this 4-leg table portion because it's only 9.5 minutes. I'm pretty sure his presentation was much longer than 9.5 minutes. However, this particular portion here that's shared, I think we should analyze some things. There are a lot of jewels dropped. You know what I'm saying? All righty. I see you coming from another account, Brother Antonio. Indeed, Islam to you. Indeed. So let's do this. Let's do this. Are we all ready, bros, to just kind of analyze this thing? Because you already know, man, in under a minute and a half, I got some shit I want to point out already.
Yep.
So, you know what I'm saying? So let's do this. Here we go. Crack at the knuckles. Crack, crack. And press play.
One of the things about the law business, the legal industry, is some of the most important things about law are actually so simple that they're easy to overlook.
Okay, that's the first thing I want to talk about, even though this is not the portion, because what I want to talk about, I'm going to stop it at about 1:18. Things about law are simple. Why do they not seem simple to you guys? To most beings? Because most beings are indoctrinated, socially engineered to think that you have to go to Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Dartmouth, some place that has a superb, like Stanford or some shit. You know where you need to go? You need to just go to the fact that you can fucking read. If you can really read, then you need to go to dictionaries, etymology dictionaries, also, first and foremost, really, law dictionaries, so that you can be able to comprehend some things. Maybe watch some videos like this, you know what I mean? And stay away from the secure party creditors who claiming they're doing things in private while still acting as public agents, but trying to tell you that it's not that. So yeah, you don't really need to go to a law school. That's one of the hugest myths ever, because law is actually meant to be simple, period. Let me tell you a law that you know. If you're thirsty, what do? Do you go and find someone, an expert on thirst, to help you? I tried to say that with a straight face. Do you find someone to help you with your thirst? Or does the law pertaining to nature simply tell you to find some water to drink?
Right.
Very simple law. Very simple. I don't think you have to go take a cup filling class for water at a 4-year program at Yale. I don't think you have to do that to practice that law there, to actually execute that law, to actually fulfill the law. Actually, that's what you're doing. Jesus, you're fulfilling the law there, right? So with that being said, okay. So Energy says this original video that we have a 9.5 minute clip from is 6 hours altogether, the original video. All right. So with that being said, yeah, law is simple.
And there are only about 4 very simple truths. And if you know and understand these truths, you will be empowered to win. Here's the first great secret. Where does the court get its jurisdiction? We have a 2-tiered court system. There are the Supreme Courts and their tribunals.
Tribunals are on a case-by-case basis of something happening, and there's someone who is not, it's supposed to be someone that's just basically like an impartial being who knows certain rules that can help people be able to come to a decision in a quote-unquote dispute. Honestly, back to that Randy Lynn Erickson video where she said she was a tribunal judge, and tribunal is like night court,
Right.
for lack of better words. All right.
She had to was it like she has to be sworn in before she even sit on the bench. She was
Correct.
Because we actually did get to speak with her over at Lawful Living. She made a special appearance once.
Exactly. And that was on a Tuesday or a Thursday, but yeah, that's actually true. Islam.
There are courts of inferior jurisdiction. When we're talking about Supreme Courts, like the United States Supreme Court and the Oklahoma Supreme Court, where do they get their jurisdiction? They get their jurisdiction because of who they are.
They get their jurisdiction because of who they are.
Saying that they're the Supreme Court. That's what I don't think he meant the individual judge of who the judge is, but he's saying the Supreme Court gets its jurisdiction because of what it is based off the Constitution.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Indeed.
Because I know I thought about it at first, like the judge, who she is. You know what I mean? Now the judge don't determine that. He must be referring to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, it's not.
But what about these courts of inferior jurisdiction? Where do they get their authority? The courts of inferior jurisdiction are empowered to act by pleadings sufficient to invoke their judicial authority.
Told you I was going to stop at about 118. I didn't even try to look to see if it was at 118. That right there, bars. 10 seconds back and play.
Authority. The courts of inferior jurisdiction are empowered to act by pleadings sufficient to invoke their judicial authority. The courts of inferior jurisdiction are empowered to act by pleadings sufficient to invoke their judicial authority. The courts of inferior jurisdiction are empowered to act by pleadings sufficient to invoke their judicial authority.
Did y'all hear that?
Yep.
There must be sufficiency on the table. Guess who's insufficient in most of these inferior courts?
An attorney?
That is a gold star response. The attorney is always giving insufficiency. Why? Because first of all, there being some prosecuting liar hole that was not there, has no firsthand knowledge, and then will try to purport that, well, you know, we still got to do this because this big. You're not supposed to be fucking talking.
Straight up.
Which means this whole the whole situation, it's done, case dismissed. Because there's no the court has no competent jurisdiction because there's no competent witness. Is that attorney the one who was injured, or do they have firsthand knowledge of witnessing what is being alleged on the record as the complaint?
And then the judge will say some stupid shit like, sir, they're here representing the plaintiff.
You can't do that. No liar hole bar rat termed attorney can represent beings. Just because people practice something that isn't correct doesn't mean that since a whole bunch of people are practicing it, it makes it right. Oh, it's correct because look, there are thousands of people doing this every day. How come nobody's saying anything about it? Shut the fuck up. That's because you don't have the balls nor the backbone to call the shit out. You're a fucking bend over. You're just going, oh, well, you know, that's them over there. It has nothing to do with us. Shut the fuck up. It has everything to do with everyone. Because there are sentient beings who take a position to, you know what, let me make sure I take my morals out my pocket, leave that shit on a dresser at home, and I'm going to go clock in and put on this motherfucking gang garment and put some titty metal on my titties. And I'll make sure I got my Glock 40 with my 17-shot clip. Because I need to go out here and be as immoral as possible.
Oh. Hey,
What'd
bro,
you say?
you're gonna be the reason they stop wearing. Pardon me, I'm over here slicing up the vegan pizza real quick, but you're gonna be the reason they stop wearing the badge by their chest. They're gonna start putting it on the arm or something.
Titty metal.
Titty metal. Titty metal.
it's titty metal. Because a real badge looks like this. This is a sheriff's badge right here. That's a sheriff's badge. This is a law enforcer's badge. What they got is titty metal.
We should probably do them like Article 20 of Guyana Sagoa.
Flat out. Why not?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when we really think about these things, man, like we have to really think to ourselves. Imagine there's a bunch of dumbasses out there. Special Agent Officer Doofy reporting for duty, sir. That's what they are. That's what they are. I don't care if they're the, oh damn, yo, she fine as shit in that police uniform. She's a fine looking idiot. There to be just as immoral as she can so she can get her hair and nails did. She's gonna break the law and have you to be an accomplice. How is she gonna break the law and have you be an accomplice? Because she's gonna ask you for ID, which means, again, there is no grand jury indictment of pertaining to who the fuck you are, which is who they also can only pull over besides their own. Then they want you to break the law by violating the Fifth Bill of Rights so that you can now provide identification. Don't you do it. Don't do it. But yo, if you don't do it, then they're gonna try to. They're not. This is why. Make sure y'all clear on why I'm saying what I'm saying. This is why we need to be really good at knowing how to discipline these motherfuckers. Make complaints when it comes to risk management. Do a state tort claim. Sue them on the federal level in the United States District Court for the District of insert state's name here. You know what I'm saying? If it's the Northern Division, Eastern Division, Southern Division, Central Division, whatever division pertaining to that so-called court, according to which quote-unquote counties they're serving. Cool, whatever. Just show them that you spanking their ass 3 times. 1 on the municipal level, 2nd on the state level, 3rd on the federal level. Why? Prophet Noble Drew Ali says, if you can't run away from a fight, then drop the world on them. I think that's a much better option than, I don't know, let's say pretending we're training to go camping somewhere and they get ran off the road on 95 with a whole bunch of fucking arms and shit that we're not actually using. You've been better off, y'all motherfuckers been better off actually shooting policy enforcers in the head. But I get it. You guys know what we're going over here on YouTube. What we go over in Lawful Living. Too busy working for the Marines being a special agent, Moroccan mole.
Uh-oh.
Fall of the Moriscos.
Jesus Christ. It's not Kodak Black in there, right?
What'd you say?
Not Kodak Black in there. Oh man, I seen some stupid shit coming from one of them dudes the other day. Man, I was like, man, that's stupid. It's so stupid I forgot what it was. Because I didn't care.
Kodak Black. I'm kidding, bro. Go ahead.
Oh my God.
Kodak Black. I was like, Kodak Whack. That's what it really is. Talking about there. We're going camping. We're going to go do our weapons training. To do what? To get thrown into a facility for corrections that nobody consented to be corrected to? Now you done made you and 11 other beings federal agents. Right along with your federal agent ass. Oh, y'all don't get, I don't give a fuck with shit. Oh, but that happened 2 years ago, bro. I don't give a fuck. I don't care when that happened.
Have they sued yet? Like, that's what I want to know.
They don't know. And if they do know, why? They don't know. Fuck that. I'm not going to ask the question. They don't know. And so it's much better for the people to know this way, because once you know this and you go to hold people accountable and then they don't want to read, okay, do your malicious stuff then. And you better be really good at it. Don't be like Adam Sandler's character in Murder Mysteries, just point blank missing. Can't hit the broadside of a barn. Or like Brother Todd say, don't get in the boxing ring taking selfies. At all. Mother Energy says, know yourself. Then you ought to know law. For instance, if you know you haven't harmed a man, then you know the RE. And you know the reason is no, I guess is no valid claim. And the reason is no valid claim. Most BS is RICO, racketeering influence and corrupt organizations-ish, coming at the people on their part. She puts objection, right?
Hashtag quicksand.
Basically, she says, LOL, morals on the nightstand. Yeah, that's where they left it. Because they're like, fuck this. I got to meet my quota. I got to do routine traffic stops and make motherfuckers think that they need to be doing trade or commerce. They need to be performing functions of public office at the pleasure of the governor. So that's why you need a license and registration so that you can be held to the shit that I'm held to. I can't be out here miserable by myself with my titty metal. So, right? That's just what it is. I don't care what you say. It could be 2 policy enforcers in the chat right now watching this video and 5 attorneys. Guess what? We're kicking your ass on paper. We're going to show the people how to do it. And we don't give a fuck if you can't make it to the Poconos with your wife. So the fuck be it. Guess what we're not doing? We're not shooting you in the fucking head. Like actually the law says, because you're committing treason, we should actually be hanging you. What color noose would you like to wear for your hanging? You like orange or orange noose? It is Sunday. The alchemical metal is gold and the color for day is orange. So like what do you like? What you guys think you're gonna keep just growling at people and oh no, hey, you fraternal order of
of policy enforcing.
I was gonna say fraternal order of pussies. Pussies is way stronger than you. Pussy is way stronger. I don't pussy actually has human beings come through it, and you guys you couldn't qualify to be pussy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
You wouldn't even qualify because you do the most inhumane shit ever. And what's more human than a vagina bringing life through it? So you're definitely not pussy. You're not a vagina. So we're not going to compliment you in that fashion. So fraternal order of policy enforcers. I guess that's how kind we can be. I was looking for another word that was just way more funny, honestly. But when I thought in the moment, I was like, no, I can't call them pussies. Pussy is actually
fraternal order of punks.
Fraternal order of punks. There you go. Because a punk is actually that's a piece of wood too. Slim, thin sliver piece of wood, just like faggot is a thin sliver of wood. Fucking pricks. Fraternal order of pricks. There you go.
Time to offer them a meeting.
Right?
You prick.
Bar Association, right? British accredited.
Prick
Registry. We gotta find something else with that. Gotta find something.
I'm gonna give you an offer you can't deny. You prick, you.
Yeah, basically, flat out. And the thing is, the people, you got to get out of the spirit of funding your own enslavement. You have been so socially engineered that when the policy enforcers lice, that you see them, you see their land conveyance, you see their uniforms. You guys have to do something with inside yourself to stop panicking. That's why I commend the European. When they be like, "What the fuck are you pulling me over for, guy?" I so get that now. I get it.
You're skating on thin ice, buddy.
Flat out. Because if those modern Europeans are actual registered voters, they're actually absolutely correct when they say, "I pay your salary." They're absolutely correct. Well, they discharge for it. They don't pay. I'm the reason you can even put on that titty metal.
Right. Mm-hmm. Out here acting like you the county when the county was abolished.
Jesus.
Acting like you're in official capacity when you're not an official of their state.
Jesus. That's speaking to that Connecticut presentation Friday. Look at that.
Yeah, by the way, I did want to say it for the record too. This is leaving the European here long enough to teach you government. And it's so interesting that we have this video, this European here, just going over these basic concepts that we've been going over for the last couple of years. And I wanted to say that, you know, this does have the spirit of woe unto ye lawyers, because man, you guys got some debt to pay.
It's going to be so many attorneys committing suicide in the next year or so, a year or two. It's going to, I said year or so, because that's what it's going to be. These motherfuckers is about to get sued.
And man, I realized that a lot of those institutions that they have, like to punish the judges, like the judicial discipline things, I realized that the intention of the state of having these type of organizations is they don't want it to be there for you and me to go blow the whistle on these people. You know what I mean? They want that to be there for when they want to discipline their own little judges, when they're not doing what they want them to do. So there is an uphill battle when it comes to you know, holding them accountable by their own, because of the fact that you know, they want to continue, they want to be able to keep things the way that they are, as far as the people ignorant, as far as bureaucratized slavery, being able to you know, keep the people playing Monopoly, imaginary games out here, and distracted with nonsense that really means nothing.
Did anyone else catch that jewel that Brother Horary just dropped? It was unspoken when he said it. Look, he said that he recognizes that when you reach out to judicial discipline to actually put a complaint on the clerk and the judge, that they don't want it to be ordinary sentient beings such as ourselves to be able to put in the claim for them to be disciplined. They want to do it amongst themselves, what's the jewel in that? We don't belong there in the first place. That's another. See, I know how to find the admission in something without it actually being stated.
Islam. Yes, indeed, because we don't belong there. We shouldn't have to file a claim. That's why anytime we do anything dealing with them, like, you know, there's a notice of eleemosynary that goes on that. I won't get too deep into that, but we let them know that all jurisdiction, no matter what type of jurisdiction it is absolutely reserved for the Moorish Empire, not any corporate business activity that's going on the land.
At all.
Yeah.
For real. Like, so not accepting one's complaint for judicial discipline, what you also said is, yeah, we're not of like kind, only we can do that, not you guys. Great. You just said that I don't belong.
That means if you're not taking complaints from me, you shouldn't take complaints against me.
Period.
Especially when they're insufficient. Like he said, insufficient pleadings. The reason that there's insufficient pleadings means that the being that's bringing the claim has to beg good enough, right? By bringing his claim and showing how they have jurisdiction, putting it on the record, the evidence, the proof of why he believes the court has jurisdiction. If what they're saying is correct, the law is correct, the beings, the parties are, you know, subject to all of that, and the whole setting has to be correct. That's sufficient pleadings. If he doesn't bring sufficient pleadings, I wanted you to kind of like say that analogy that you said about the banking, because it's like an insufficient, it's like trying to withdraw, it's like trying to make a payment with insufficient funds. You're going to decline. So that means that's the same thing. When they file insufficient pleadings, they're supposed to get declined. They're supposed to get denied.
Right, because it's a statements account, the so-called case, right? And the guy sitting the bench comes from the Latin banc, B-A-N-C, which is the bank. And you have some asshole over here making deposits that are insufficient.
Yeah.
You're making insufficient deposits.
He's trying to make deposits and withdrawal. So he's putting fake money in the machine and then trying to withdraw some type of value out of that.
That's
by trying to get the bank to do something. You're trying to make the bank do a thing. Yeah, so you're trying to get a withdrawal. You know what I mean? You're not drawing anything here, except for falsehood.
Exactly. So that's why I said it's like if your word is your bond, and bond is synonymous with funds, right? Because a bond deals with insurance. Like somebody puts in a bond, hey, I'm going to practice this out here in the state. So here's this bond for $10,000 that if I fuck up, somebody can, make a claim against my bond and I have to pay out damages from that bond. Cool. If your word is your bond, then you have an insufficient word, then that's insufficient funds. And now you need to compensate whomever is being violated, whoever is going through the unnecessary inconveniences, because now you want to be some liar hole bar rat that is saying that you are putting in a case on behalf of someone else who obviously isn't competent enough to do it. So now it's two incompetent assholes trying to take action against someone.
That means there's 0 competent witnesses.
Case dismissed. No, there's a lack of jurisdiction.
As a matter of fact, we need to set up some arrangements so I could be justly compensated for all this time of mine that you exercise eminent domain over.
Mm-hmm. I would like 7.5 million.
Yeah, because my time is my private property that you took for public use.
Mm-hmm. 7.5 million what? Well, I mean, it's only a start. However, you really owe me in compound interest on top of that. But I would like 7,500,000 pre-1964 minted dimes. I want all silver dimes.
Lawful money.
Yeah, I want that. That's where you can start by giving me 7.5 million of those. Unless we can do one $50 gold eagle for every hour starting from the first time you came into. So if it started back in November, we're here now and it probably won't be over till June. Cool. That's 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many hours are in 7 months? You see what I'm saying?
24 times 7 times.
Well, 24 times. Let's do 24 times 30. And then do that times 7.
Islam.
And then that's how many 50 gold eagles I need. $50 gold eagles. And I think a $50 gold eagle is about, I don't know, maybe about 15, 16 grand. In their military script, they call United States dollar. And then if that's the case, then I need that all in silver dimes. At least, because I know one silver dime you can exchange one Federal Reserve note for a silver dime in certain Masonically owned bullion places. So since that's the case, okay, cool. I want silver dimes. I want my silver dimes to be minted before 1964. And it has a certain jingle to it. It should sound like silver. Should not be alloyed with any nickel or copper at all. Pressing play.
Which means that the people, not the attorneys, the people that walk into that court empower that person in a black robe to be a judge.
The people empower that quote unquote person in the black robe to be the judge, not the attorney. See how this is? Let's invite the rooster and the hen into the foxhole for a hearing. Foxes eat chickens. I bet you don't see no foxes inviting bears. You don't see foxes inviting wolves. You don't see foxes inviting lions and tigers into that foxhole. Why? Because they respect the law of getting their ass handed to them, which is why you got to be a civil lion, right? Civilian. one who is learning in the law? I mean, and you got to be jurisprudently ferocious.
Fearless, upright, independent, and fearless.
That's why.
Which means you should, if they approach you and you ain't got none of your bros with you, you don't have no one that can speak for you, you should be able to stand independently in that moment, fearless, upright.
Flat out. I mean, what's the fucking problem? Like, really, what's the issue? What is really the fucking issue? When, like, how come people can be so tough in so many other situations, however, can't be tough in really defending themselves? Like, can you guys admit, oh, well, I guess the social engineering within me has me hypnotized to not defend myself?
Or they try to defend themselves and they go about it in a completely wrong way.
Yeah. I mean, stop trying to be cool. Stop trying to be cool. Stop trying to still be Moorish American while, tempering it with Negro Black colored stuff. Stop trying to pander and cater to Negro Black coloreds and African Americans and Negroes. So fuck the undesirables. They're not your people. They're not our people. Unconscious Moors aren't our people until they are ready to declare and proclaim their nationality, and then do it. And even then, I still don't want to hang around you. Until I really, okay, this motherfucker's, okay, they're solid. I think they're pretty solid right now. Right? Okay, I yield.
Listen closely to what this guy just said. It is earth-shaking and game-changing. It puts the ball in your hands. What is he saying exactly? An injured human being has to show up in court and testify under oath that they have been injured, period. Prosecuting attorneys testify like they are the injured party, and they are not the injured party. They don't get to testify because they are not the ones injured, but they do it all the time because no one puts them in their place. Trinzi versus Pagliaro states statements of counsel in brief or an argument are not sufficient for summary judgment. If the judge doesn't like it, it's too bad. The Supreme Court, this is the
Statements of counsel in brief or an argument are not sufficient for summary judgment. So summary judgments, man, they do that in traffic and they do that with the evictions a lot. And I think those are two of the biggest issues that the people face are evictions and traffic. And the reason being is because they're associated with finance, and a lot of people are struggling because it's bureaucratized slavery. Like, you have to exchange your time for Federal Reserve notes and then give those Federal Reserve notes for place that you stay, the so-called utilities, and the sustenance that you need to continue living. So at a certain point, people begin to sacrifice certain things for other things. Like, okay, we're gonna have to eat this poor diet that costs less because we need the lights on so we could even preserve the food that we're eating, you know what I mean? Or I got to pay this rent, so I can't pay for this registration. So I'm about to put myself in a situation where these idiots are gonna stop me and try to enforce their statutes on me because I can't afford that. But you're over there playing Monopoly with them. So he was really saying that when counsel comes in there and just starts speaking, whether he's speaking it in argument in the courtroom or whether he's writing it down on paper in a brief and filing it. So statements of counsel in brief or an argument are insufficient, right? So again, it goes to that declining. You went to the bank and you declined. How the heck are you pulling something out of my account that is not even a bank that you have jurisdiction over? How are you trying to bring me into that situation? I'm not a member of your bank. I'm not a member of your District of Columbia, your Bank of Columbia. I mean, you know what I mean? And then you can't oogly boogly and then hypnosis on the mother, right? And then say, put your child in the state, get a birth certificate. You got a social now. Every time we bring a claim, every time we bring an insufficient claim, we're gonna use this number now because this number belongs to your child, and that's how we're gonna withdraw from your account. That's not my account. That's your shit. I don't know what y'all doing with that. I didn't agree to that. I didn't consent to that.
Flat out.
Slime on you.
Flat out. Islam.
Pagliaro states statements of counsel in brief or an argument are not sufficient for summary judgment. If the judge doesn't like it, it's too bad. The Supreme Court, this is a Supreme Court ruling, and basically what it's saying is to the lawyer, shut up and sit down. You don't get to testify.
Jurisdiction has 4 corners on it. It's a 4-legged table. And if you take away one of those legs, it's not a court anymore. You win when you know how to invoke the court's jurisdiction, when you empower that judge to make the decision that you want that judge to make. That's the second great secret, is the Constitution, state constitutions, statutes, laws, rules. What meaning do they have as you read them in their black and white print? They don't really mean anything except a hint, a suggestion of what the law is. Well, we have a common law system. The Supreme Court tells you what that means. To find out what the law is, we have to find out what the Supreme Courts have said that that particular law means. Now, that's the second great secret. We have a means of finding out what the law is. It's written down. Where do we find the common law? It's the federal and state annotated statutes. Because, again, that's a secret. They don't want you to know that. If you can read the annotated statutes, now you know what the law is. The state annotated statutes. Those annotated statutes are going to tell me what the law is.
Oh, is that, man?
But they're going to publish the holding.
When he said, well, I know he said something about we can go to what the law is. You know what I mean? We can find out what the law is. And now that you can read the statutes, that's what we were just talking about that on Friday. Like, yo, talk about the statutes. Like, yes. Now you understand. Once you understand these basic fundamental principles on how to study, right? Once you know what it is you need to find, it doesn't matter what state it is. We can go to any state's annotated statutes and show you the same principles from one state to the next, and then going up to the federal and back down. We can show you joinder. Once you know that, then you're unfuckwittable in the sense that if any type of agency or corporation or being messes with you and they're not supposed to be, you know exactly what to go look for, you know where to go look for it, and you can defend yourself against these false insufficient claims.
That's a secret. They don't want you to know that. If you can read the annotated statutes, now you know what the law is. The state annotated statutes. Those annotated statutes are going to tell me what the law is. But they're going to publish the holding. They're going to tell you the essence of that decision. And that essence of that decision out of that case is that one paragraph, that one sentence, or maybe just that one phrase that you need to win, and that's all you need. Trinzi versus Pagliaro is one of the most important cases that has ever been decided by the United States Supreme Court. But Trinzi versus Pagliaro is absolutely earth-shaking. The holding of Trinzi versus Pagliaro, statements of counsel in brief or argument are not sufficient for a summary judgment. Take it to heart, memorize it, get a tattoo that says it. Because that is one of the most important principles on law, in law. And that is one of the most powerful things that you will ever learn and have to use. That's for the United States Supreme Court.
Council, I think we need to really probably do like a whole thing on council, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, what is council? Because to me, council is an advisor. See what I'm saying? So or the advisors, right? So it's like you can give advice, you can give information, but you can't act as the party. How are you acting as the party? Where's the actual power of attorney, the certified power of attorney? Not you just drafted something up in the backyard. No, you guys are claiming you're in the state. You guys are claiming to be employed in the state and or have legal entities that you're responsible for that are organized under the state. Then you should have your notarized power of attorney, and that shit has to speak with regards to claims and litigation. It can't, if it's a general power of authority, then it has to say general, you know, if you're getting general power and authority with regards to claims and litigation, okay, then we know certain things are covered there. Or if it's a specific grant of authority, right, of claims and litigation, you got to have that general or that specific authority with regards to claims and litigation. Otherwise, how the hell do you have the authority to bind someone in litigation? Even if they just told you go do it. In law, that's not the, according to their state laws, that's not how it goes. You got to have that document, because if the judge wants proof that you're there representing a party, what are you going, oh yeah, I told him he could do it. Yeah, I told him he could do it. I'm right here. Yeah, he can represent me. Nah, where's the legal document? Because then something goes wrong and goes, oh yeah, I didn't tell him he could do it. You go switch it up. Even though we know that the writing is basically an extension of the thought first, right? It's only a brief pertaining to their position. However, without that power of attorney, they're not supposed to be litigating. They could counsel, which means that they can advise them. Islam.
Grab this link real quick. John Alexander Dix Bay, right? He's like, yo, rap this for us, brother. Or I'm gonna send them the link to Quicksand in the chat so they can fit the jurisprudence, right? And your most recent release there for that particular.
Wait for this new joint with the Exalted Cyclops.
It's
a rap, bro. Like this new joint, they're gonna be like, a lot of people are gonna show love, but some people, they're gonna have like, you know, like that bitter taste in their mouth. Like,
yeah, that's because they should have fucked with us when we was like, yo, look, man, we about to do X, Y, and Z. I'm telling you, it's just, I'm pretty sure when people were listening to those that were making like Apple in their parents' garage, in their mom and dad's garage, they're like, oh man, some geeks over there in the garage talking about building computers and electronics, man. Fuck that. I'm gonna go get me a beer. Right? Okay. and I'm telling you, it's gonna come a point where you're like, yo, remember back in the day, yo, I was there at your garage, man, you know, but I had to go to the store that day, man. You know what I mean? You know how my dad is. He was abusing me, so I had to get him some beer. If I remember correctly, you said that you were the one that wasn't gonna hang on because we were geeks and you needed to get yourself a beer. That's how I remember it. You know, and that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a lot of different beings that are going to be very apologetic, and they're going to be rushing in to redeem their apology vouchers that we've handed out long ago in the past.
For real.
Flat out, bro. All right, I'm gonna hit play.
That is one of the most powerful things that you will ever learn and have to use. That's according to the United States Supreme Court. But that 1/4 thing that has probably been missing 50 million times in this country when we got shafted in the court was a competent witness.
Okay, so what's missing is a competent witness. So it's like if that leg pertaining to the 4-leg table is missing, and when he says shafted is one of those ways of saying getting fucked, because that part of a son's genitalia, besides the glands, the portion between his pelvic area and the glands, which some people call the head, right? For those of us, that portion between those two areas is called the shaft, right? The shaft of the said quote unquote penis. So that's what he means. What got us fucked was not having a competent witness, right? Let's run that back.
Million times in this country, when we got shafted in the court, was a competent witness. Where's the competent witness? That's the fourth leg on that table.
This guy used to be a judge or what?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just thinking. I'm not sure if that's what he's. I'm thinking he's saying when he did a certain freaking, when he's either probably defendant or whatever in a situation. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like he's speaking from the defendant side of things. But if he was, that would be cool to see too, a part of his biography. I'm just saying, it sounds like what he's saying, what was missing was a competent witness. That's what fucked him.
But he's saying, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But if you're a defendant, how would them not having a competent witness fuck you over? You see what I'm saying?
Because he didn't comprehend at that time. I'm thinking he didn't comprehend in that moment of time that there should have been a competent witness. They kept getting beat up by bar rats.
Right.
That are providing insufficiencies for the record. Which
is also that also lets you know that we didn't. There was a point in time where a lot of things we know today we might not have known 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So everybody got to start somewhere. So don't feel bad. Just hit them websites. You know what I mean? Hit them law books and really start grasping these concepts. Whenever you're free time, don't watch stupid videos online. Go watch a lecture from Brother Taj, or go get access to the law jurisprudence gym. Get on RV Bay publications, read and define every single word there etymologically. Go through the whole website, read everything, and define every word you don't know etymologically and in the law dictionary. Your comprehension will grow. It will be just like how to ride a bike. You're gonna have things memorized that, well, if they say this, then I'll just say this. If they say that, then I'll just say this. If they do this, then I'll just do that. And at the end of the day, you're clearing your mind on what your position is. You're not gonna, if he says this, then I'm gonna just comply. But if I'm gonna try to just enforce this, but then if he threatens arrest, then I'm just gonna fold at that time. Like you're gonna be upright, independent, and fearless until they threaten arrest. All right, under duress, I'll bend over. No.
Yeah, not at all. Because an unlawful arrest is the same as an assault and battery. And when someone goes to assault and battery, you have the right to defend yourself with impunity.
Yeah, to the point of taking the alleged quote unquote officer, right? The employee's life.
Yeah.
That's what the law says.
That's a Supreme Court ruling.
Right. Speaking of Supreme Court. But see, the only thing that I see that why people wouldn't enforce that is because these idiots, right? If they show up to a scene where police was shot, they're gonna come guns blazing. They're not gonna come, all right, even if you put the gun up, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I killed him, whatever, but like I gotta go now because either way, it's not like you could charge me with statutory murder or something. But if you guys do it, I'm just gonna prove that I did it with impunity.
For real. Can't be mad because someone knows the law and actually knows how to invoke it appropriately. You know what I'm saying? You can't be mad at that. Again, these people are used to practicing insufficiency.
That table doesn't have four legs. That court did not have jurisdiction. Period. You've got to have somebody at some point in time before the judgment raise their hand and testify under oath and subject to cross-examination, or it's nonsense. If the other side...
So,
where's the
penalties of perjury?
You have the right to face the witnesses against you.
Right, you're correct. You have the right to face your accuser and the witnesses.
Yeah, so
and if they're not making an oath under penalties of perjury, then
ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, and then honestly, I mean, you're showing them mercy if he's like, case dismissed, okay, just walk away. Me, I'm thinking though, is like, hey, look, man, look, I got these I got these nooses in, right? Look, check this out, man. I got gold, got yellow, got purple and blue. Which color noose you want to be hung in? Oh, you don't see your color peach? I got peach over here. This side, right? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because
pull out the jacket. Pull out the jacket, like the different nooses.
Basically, yeah. Like I have, it has been invested in me to make sure that here we have your selection of nooses to be hung in for your treason. Which one?
Hey, don't fuck with that Moor right there. What? He's a merchant? No, yeah, he's not selling products. He's got nooses to hang out there. He's not a coat full of watches.
Basically, which tree? That branch? Which branch? You got to pick a branch that's at least 20 feet high. At
least.
So that we can just
okay. We'll give you 33. We give you 33.
33.
you no higher, no lower.
Give him 33 feet. That is actually amazing. Actually, that's really amazing. 33 feet, right? That is
3 inches.
What?
Or you know how they got the firing squad in some states? We're gonna have the stomper squad. You could get 33 feet that way.
It's long. That's 363 inches of this is what we do to
a foot up your ass.
You want to be treacherous, you want to commit treason. Okay. All right. Since you want to be naughty by nature,
33 feet you to death.
And basically, let's show you what some other people's property can do to you, right? OPP your ass on this branch, right? Okay. So anyway, with that being said, let's continue.
Supports their pleadings with an affidavit, which they rarely do, or it's nonsense. If the other side supports their pleadings with an affidavit, which they rarely do, but if they do, you subpoena that witness because you want to question him under oath.
If the other side supports with an affidavit, Jesus, Bruce Lee Christ. Because yo, that's because I know we're in the middle of doing some things like this, man. It's like there are going to be some people who have never been sued like they're about to get sued, man. They're going to be sheriffs and attorneys. They're going to be looking like and fucking so-called associate judges. I mean, their jaws are just going to hit the ground. Like, hey, man, you catching flies? Like, just be with your jaw on the ground there, But
we can't hear you, Brother Sean.
I should have
hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit. Yeah, that's what be going on.
Yeah. You hear all the bar rats screaming. Ah!
For real, man. Seriously, it's like, how do they know this? We should. And I know they be confident. Oh, we're gonna beat this. They don't know this. It's, man, when they see us, no way out.
You should have heard that woman when we was talking about the applicability, and she tried to tell me that it applies to every house, every dwelling. Like, no, it doesn't. It specifically says in the chapter that you brought up. I didn't even bring up chapter 118A. I was still on 162A talking about power of attorney. You were like, you need to stop focusing on chapter 11 or 1162 or whatever, 162A, and focus on 118A and 40. And it's like, you just don't know that I know those chapters better than you do. You wouldn't have even brought that shit up.
Bro, how did that one song go? Would it go like, let it aid and try me. I'm gonna sue him and it's personal and private. Was it something like that?
Or something like that. Whatever that song says.
Right? However it went.
However it goes. So with that being said, guys, it's yeah, right. However, with that being said, Mother Sahar laughs, and so does Terrell Bey about apology vouchers, right? Islam to you, Brother Derek Blash Bey, and Terrell Bey says they will be looking for new employees. It's going to be people not signing up because we got to get back to the point. All Moorish Americans, we need to sincerely get back to a point where, like the Ashkenazi, the Khazarian, who is falsely called Jewish. I'm not being anti-Semitic. I'm not being anti-me, because I'm all about me. I love myself, right? So with that being said, those Ashkenazis, those Khazarians that wear yarmulkes, they are the ones now looked at as if you don't want to go against them in the court because they really know law. Like, where do you think they got that from? Moors. You got to remember, a lot of people are practicing things from their ancient foremothers and forefathers. So they're throwing one big temper tantrum. It's like the movie City of Gods or Lord of the Flies, where the children are like, yes, there's no grown-ups around to regulate our behavior. And that's what's happening. However, guess what? We're back, type energy. So with that being said, let's move forward.
And the idea that is the kernel of truth in Trinzi versus Pagliaro is a thread that runs through everything. Criminal, civil, it runs through everything. Administrative, it's got to be there. It's got to be there. How do I know? Here is a very good statement. And again, this is from an annotated statute. Actual facts, not mere allegations of complaint, are determinative of issue of jurisdiction. Actual facts, not mere allegations of complaint, are determinative of issue of jurisdiction.
Yep.
Actual facts, not mere allegations of complaint, are determinative of issue of jurisdiction.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
I thought I put that in the chat, but I can't see it. Maybe.
Well, since he's saying when he had mentioned Supreme Court and the Supreme Court of Oklahoma, I figured that must be an Oklahoma statute. If not, in full faith and credit kind of fashion, we could find it. We could probably type that in and find that language. Let's play it a couple more times.
Actual facts, not mere allegations of complaint, are determinative of issue of jurisdiction.
Which means I think I interpret that when he says actual facts, which means those are claims that have evidence behind them. So then it has to be a fact asserted, and then it has to have evidence behind it. And that's why they say that you can testify. Testimony is considered evidence if it's under penalties of perjury, and if it's under oath, right, or affirmation, or under penalty of perjury, and then pardon me, just over affirmation, not penalty of perjury. And then you have to actually do that on the stand, be subject to cross-examination, like you said. And then you have to have personal knowledge. That's like the most important part. You have to have firsthand personal knowledge.
Actual facts, not mere allegations of complaint, are determinative of issue of jurisdiction.
Right, so no evidence behind it.
Actual facts.
No evidence behind it means it's not actual fact. It's just an allegation.
Not mere allegations of complaint are determinative of issue of jurisdiction.
One more again.
Actual facts, not mere allegations of complaint, are determinative of issue of jurisdiction.
So what's determinative pertaining to the issue, pertaining to jurisdiction?
Actual facts, not mere allegation.
Exactly. Like, sometimes you got to take a statement and turn it around other ways. Just make sure you like when Brother Tar says, sometimes I don't just read the word itself or just on the word. I actually go through the word and come from behind the word and go back through the word again. Like,
right.
That's how it's got to be. Like,
I actually take the form of the word for, I put myself in the word shoes for a little bit, then I come out, and get a full inner understanding.
Because at the end of the day, who do I and my bros, who do we call other than ourselves to assist with what it is in concept correction? Only other being we probably converse with is Malika. And Sonny's usually in the background. And we're going over these concepts when those moments happen. Other than that, when it comes time to actually put in the complaints anywhere, we're doing it singularly. Either I'm putting it in where I am, Brother R is putting it in where he is, Brother Corey's putting in the complaints where he is, Brother Sean's putting complaints where he is, Brother Terrell has to put in the complaints, putting the complaints where he is. It's not someone else doing it for us. What we do for one another is have these moments where we come together and make sure we, have our brains on the same page with all the material that we've been making sure, especially within the last year or so, especially when it comes to being members pertaining to the jurisprudence gem. Come on. You got to make sure, hey, look, man, I'm just making sure that, boom, this is how I curl that iron. Yeah, that's right. Your form's good. All right, go and do your thing now. And then we're going out to do what we do.
Isn't that what I just said? Complaint are determinative of issue of jurisdiction. Actual facts, not mere allegations of complaint, are determinative of issue of jurisdiction. It's got to be there. How do I know? Here is a very good statement. And again, this is from an annotated statute. Actual facts, not mere allegations of complaint, are determinative of issue of jurisdiction. Isn't that what I just said? If there's no witness, there's no facts. If there's no facts, there's no what? No jurisdiction. It's not what I think. I think it, but it's not true because I think it. It's true because it's the law. It's the law because the Supreme Court says yes.
You know what he just said right there? I'm going to run that back.
I think it, but it's not true because I think it. It's true because it's the law. There's no what? No jurisdiction. It's not what I think. I think it, but it's not true because I think it. It's true because it's the law. It's the law because there's no what? No jurisdiction. It's not what I think. I think it, but it's not true because I think it. It's true because it's the law. It's the
What he just said, that shuts down anyone's claim to say you're a sovereign citizen.
Right.
Because they would say, oh, well, that's just your beliefs, and we beg to differ because that's not my beliefs. I'm not.
But that is counterintelligence that they've been fucking told on how. If you watch those videos when they're going against people who are doing constitutionally protected activity, you will see that they all respond a certain way, and it's to act like it's a difference of opinion. Always try to find how they're wrong. Always try to find how, if they try to say how they did something wrong to them, then they'll say, no, they didn't do nothing to you. And it's like they weren't even there the whole time.
Plausible deniability.
There you go. There you go. Yep.
There's no what? No jurisdiction. It's not what I think. I think it, but it's not true because I think it. It's true because it's the law.
It's not true because of what I think. Yeah, of course I'm thinking it, but that's not what's making what I'm saying true. What's making me say I'm not a contracted, oath-taking, autograph certified statement making agent doing foreign trade or commerce, which is trade or business, which is performing functions of public office at the pleasure of the governor, because I'm not in the state. I'm not saying that because I think it, and it's true because I say so. I'm saying it because that's what the fucking statutes and codes say that you've contracted to say that you comprehend. And now you want to inconvenience me? Well, it's going to cost you. You think your wife has you think she's pissed off at you now and you're sleeping on the couch. So wait till you get a load of this.
It's the law because the Supreme Court says yes. Yes, you've got to have a competent witness to have that fourth leg on that table.
As soon as you say, I don't care what the Supreme Court says, that's federal, it has nothing to do with us. That is a treasonous statement. And then I'm going to ask the question, are you in the United States? I know that I'm asking, are you in the United States, to not say I'm in the United States. I'm painting them into a corner, which has a catch-22 to it. If they say, yes, I'm in the United States, then it's really un-United Statesian of you to not uphold what the Supreme Court says.
Yeah, exactly.
If they say, no, I'm not in the United States, then it's like, oh, okay, then, then we must have a contract somewhere. Is that, can you produce the written evidence that I agree to this? We don't have an agreement to this. Then, okay, I'll be on my way. Unless you're sitting here trying to threaten me.
Yeah, because if there's
17 shots in your Glock.
Don't they say, if you're in the state, then the state law applies to you? That's what they say, which is really not true also, because just because you're present in the state doesn't make you a resident when you look at resident not gained or lost. However, if it's their, how can they say the federal law doesn't apply to them? That's a perfect question. Well, are you in the United States? Because they try to tell you when you're in the state law applies, but you're in the United States, but the federal law don't apply to you, which makes absolutely no sense when you're an inferior court. Which means if you're inferior, then there's something that's superior to you, which is like another part of you that's superior. You guys are doing the same shit within the same construct. How in the world wouldn't it apply? Are you?
Yeah, I'm just saying, and then ask them for their information again and hear them reply, Special Agent Officer Doofy report for duty. Sure, exactly, because that's what's actually
what they sound. Yeah,
that's their spirit. Their spirit is a retard.
And now think about, and if these judges are acting retarded, right? And then if these policemen and women are acting retarded, imagine how retarded these employees of these regular businesses are, where they think that they can do and say something. This is a private business. Really? Because I just walked in this motherfucker. I know you couldn't just walk into my private home. There's no way. There's no way. This is a place of public accommodation. And this business is organized under the laws of the state. It has a state business license, and everyone employed under this business, working for this business, is operating under that license when they're on the clock. Which means they're United States businesses. Subject to federal and state laws. And all the policies, codes, administrative code, rules, and regulations in between that are in harmony with the Constitution for the United States of the North American Republic.
Specifically when they're on the clock.
Yeah.
So if a policy enforcer is on duty on the clock and he runs you off the road and you're not on the clock, and then he purports to try to write you a citation, complaint, and summons,
and check off traffic on that mug,
and try to take your property also, guess what?
Someone's going to be handsomely compensated.
Exactly, because he's the only one that can be held to the statutes, not you. You're not on the clock, first of all. And even if you was, how does he know? He doesn't.
Exactly. So they don't know when they ask you to ID yourself. Like the fact that you don't know because as soon as you tell them, why are you asking me to show you ID? Because I need to know who you are. So you don't know who
there's no grand jury indictment on me.
There it is. You don't even know whether I work for you guys or not. What do you mean? You don't have to work for me to tell you to ID yourself in the state of what they will see that there you go, assuming I'm in the state. There you go, assuming I'm a person. There you go, assuming that you're supposed to be talking to me.
Special Agent Officer Doofy report for duty. Sure. Trying to tell you, man. That's all of them. I don't care if your dad is the greatest dad on the planet and your mom is the most awesomest mom. If she puts on a policy enforcer's uniform, she's clocked in to be Special Agent Officer Doofy and pulling for duty. Sure. Every time. I don't give a fuck. She's that idiot retard from whatever time she clocks in, he or she clocks in, to the time he or she clocks out. Once they clock out, they better not be talking about, yeah, I'm a sheriff or I'm a policy enforcer. Look, hey, Shire Reeve and policy enforcer, are you on the clock right now? Okay. Then you know you can get fucked up just like everybody else not on the clock right now, right? Okay, just wanted to let you know that you can get fucked up. Okay. Because since you're in your private capacity now, there is nothing, you can't even bring that up. Like, oh, they put their hands on me and I was sheriff. Not you weren't on the clock at that time. And these statutes only applies when people are on the fucking clock. When are you on the clock at home and someone's trying to force some type of an eviction? You're not on the clock. But yet the people that so-called put a lease to you or whatever, or say they got a lease with you, they're saying that they have a business agreement. So every time you're in your home, according to that lease, you're doing business, which is what they try to adjudicate upon. But they can't even do that because it must be a HUD programmed home. And guess what? If you're not someone whose home or domus is under HUD, they can't even do a forced entry and detainer because there must be a 42 United States Code 1437 DK due process hearing where they can't just put you out on the street. They have to put up 15 racks for the year and help you move to somewhere else. They just can't put you out on the street. That's war. To try to put your stuff out and put it on the street is war. So stop thinking your Shire Reeve termed sheriff is some upstanding uniformed guy. He's a gangbanger.
Right.
All of them in with the titty metal and the gang the gang garments, they're all gangbangers.
I'm still
I
trying
don't
to
care
understand.
if they got, what'd you say?
Oh no, go ahead, finish your thought.
Yeah, I don't care if they have the titty metal and they got the firearm and they look like they're they are gangbangers.
Yeah, when they start going outside of their job description, they're violating the law, they're violating people's rights, and they're making things worse for everyone, for themselves, for others. Like they're just out here causing all type of harm, on the rivers of life. I was gonna say, I'm still trying to understand how the police departments are opening cases in the name of the city and state as if they can bind the principal in litigation. I don't see. Everything I read shows me that if they provide the ticket, then they should be the plaintiff.
Say that one more time. You don't see how who can do what?
I don't see.
Point out the gem that bro just dropped again and see if y'all picking up the gems he's dropping. Say it again.
I don't see how a police department can open up a traffic court case in the name of the city or the county or the state, right? Because I'm saying that because there's instances where the attorney assigned to the case has not filed the complaint. And when you figure out who provided the complaint to the court, you'll find out that it was the police department themselves who provided the complaint. So if the police department are initiating the action, they can say that they're doing the ticket in the on behalf of the city. They're doing this highway, federal highway or national highway act programs on the state level and local level or whatever, as they have been funded to do. They can say that, that's cool. However, you're supposed to provide all that information to, the city council, right? Or, the governor, right? And then everything is supposed to be delegated authority. You're supposed to actually get the go, like, hey, we see that this guy is part of our administration and he's been riding around, without his plates, and he's operating under our license, and we want to talk to you, city council, so that we can bring him before, one of our magistrates, so that we can figure out why he's not complying with his license and contract. And then they go pull you over. You see what I'm saying? But
correct.
But they're not supposed to be stopped. So what I was essentially saying is, I don't understand how the police department, because again, in order to bind the principal, if you say I'm an agent for this being, I'm an agent for Walmart, and Walmart got hurt or whatever, and it was by this guy or whatever. Okay, so that's what you're saying. Cool. You saying you're an agent for Walmart. So now can I see your credentials that you're an actual agent? Because anyone could go out here and say that they're operating on behalf of Walmart. But if you were operating on behalf of any corporation, then you would actually have that permission in writing. You would have that delegated authority in writing, which would be, of course, a general or specific grant of of authority with regard to someone's property or whatever it is that you're dealing with. So now you cannot bind a principal in litigation unless you have power of attorney.
There we go. That's that gem right there.
So how is the alleged agent, the police provided the ticket, the clerk received a freaking so-called complaint from a police department, opens a case and puts the city as the plaintiff? How are you doing that? Does the police department have the right to operate as a representative capacity with regards to claims and litigation for the city, for the state, for the county? Do they? If they don't, then that case should have been opened in the name of the police department.
Correct. Which still would be case dismissed because the plaintiff and the alleged defendant would be not of like kind.
Exactly.
But the police department can only bring claims against people that are of like kind themselves.
But I can see I see exactly what they're doing, because the way that they do the traffic thing, it's the same way that they do the evictions. The traffic is because the police provided what they provided, and because the attorney that was assigned hasn't filed anything, the attorney's trying to act like he hasn't done anything wrong because, I didn't file any complaint. I didn't make any claims against anyone. And then the clerk is trying to trick you into believing that the case is a real case, that it's not a legal simulation, trying to make you think that you have to show up. And what they're doing is, once you show up, guess what happens? There is no court date.
Correct.
They say you got to show up by this date. It doesn't say show up on this date. It says by this date, which means you could go in any day before that day and they won't issue a warrant. However, when you show up, there's no hearing set with your case on a specific on a particular time and date. That doesn't exist. When you show up, they tell you to pull a ticket. And when you get to the windows, they're asking you, how do you want to pay? They don't even ask you, do you want to contest this most of the time, depending, what agency you're dealing with. They don't ask you, they're like basically telling you to plea at the window. You get to the window and they're like, how do you want to pay? And it's like, oh, what do you mean? How do I want to pay? I don't even know what's going on. You guys give me this ticket. I didn't do any of this. Okay, so if you want to contest this, then they're starting hearings at 10 o'clock, which is in 30 minutes, and you could go in there and and be heard or whatever. But there wasn't a hearing set. So what happens is you're setting up your own hearing. You're initiating a case against yourself because you go in there and ask for a court date, ask for a hearing appearance. You go in there and submit to their jurisdiction. And if you pay, you're admitting guilt.
Again, violating Bill of Rights 5.
Yeah.
Again.
And so how that's similar with the eviction process is that these idiots put something on your door before they file anything. That's the same thing like the police handing you a ticket and it hasn't even been filed yet.
Correct.
The court doesn't have, it's not in possession. No one, how come I know about this before a judge does? How do I know about what you're writing on this paper before a judge does? Doesn't the judge have to make determination that sufficient pleadings exist?
Exactly.
So that they can do a summons, because a summons is an order from a judge, and orders are not into effect until they're written, signed, and filed by the clerk. So if the judge hasn't written, signed, and filed an orders of a summons holding a party that's actually liable to the court, to the party that's bringing the pleadings, then how the heck are you saying that I have to show up by a certain date? I don't have to show up. You want me to believe I do. Then you want to trick me into signing this, saying that I will deal with it, therefore creating the obligation in that very moment. You want me to create the obligation in that moment and then show up against myself and either admit guilt by transacting, and then that's the same thing when we go to the landlord issue. They want you to file an answer to the notice they put on your door before they file a claim. They didn't go file an eviction, anything. All they did was put a piece of paper on your door saying that they're going to give you a certain amount of time to do something. But then what they want to do is say, if you do not file any answer, then they rush to summary judgment. How? Without sufficient pleadings.
Exactly, which is the whole point of us analyzing this video.
Islam.
Seriously. That's why That's why it's wild, man. Like seriously, to really even think. Forgive me, I'm just Palo Santoing right now. That's why it's just like for any of this, bro, to really for any of this not to be what people are really into, and it's like you're wasting your time being into lace front wigs and fingernails and eyelashes and eyebrows being arched and stuff. Okay, do it to make yourself look good. However, you're doing that because you want to look good for when you're sitting here putting cases together. Fallings. Who you doing cases or fallings for those that have fell. Right. You want to make sure they fall further into hell, which is the debtor's chamber. I mean, the debtor's prison under the exchequer's chamber.
Right. I found something. If I may, briefly, just real quick, read this because it's with regards to the courts and their jurisdiction. So I'm looking at just like the district court, right, at an overview of the state of Nevada court system. And they first start talking about the trial courts. They have the district court, right, on page 1. And it says district courts have general jurisdiction over all legal disputes that are generally resolved through arbitration, mediation, and bench or jury trials. A general jurisdiction. 1, Article 6, Section 6 of the Nevada Constitution provides that the district courts have original jurisdiction in all cases excluded by law from the original jurisdiction of the justice courts. They also have final appellate jurisdiction in cases arising in the justice court and such other inferior tribunals, right? They went over that right there in that video. Inferior tribunals as the legislature may establish. Now, it talks about the types of cases. So it says types of cases. The first one is real property, right? So it says cases that deal with ownership or rights. Let me make this very clear. Real property, cases that deal with ownership or rights in real property, excluding construction defect or negligence, and includes landlord/tenant disputes, title to property, condemnation, eminent domain, and other real property cases. So now again, back to that first line that I said is very important. Pay attention. Cases that deal with ownership or rights. Now, if I take you to, I got it right here in front of me. If I take you to the statute that is NRS 24, for example, we're going to say county because the district court is a county court, right? NRS 244.270 or NRS 244.265. It says the county can control county property. Back to what I was saying, ownership and rights. Now, for them to determine a case dealing with real property, which deals with ownership and rights, and knowing that they can control county property, not any property they want, that ownership, they would have to have an interest in that ownership or in them rights. They would have to be given consent somehow to be able to administer the ownership rights. Because how can you, if I buy, let's say, a vegan pizza, right? And then I tell the bros like, hey, I'm gonna give you 1/4 of this, 1/4 of this, but I'm gonna keep the other 1/4 for my baby. And then he eats 2/4 of it. And then we have a dispute. How can a motherfucker outside of that come in and say, hey, well, you just need to eat this many slices and you just need to give him this many slices? Like, who are you? Did you put in on this? Because I don't remember you kicking in when I got this pizza here. Okay.
Correct.
So you're trying to administer that which you have no authority over, which would be our ownership in this pizza or our interest ownership in this pizza, right? Or our rights to the ownership of this pizza. So that's what they're doing. They're trying to administer property that is not theirs, and they cannot do that. They can only administer their own property unless you're giving them consent to administer your property. So then you're just basically, allowing them. That's like, you're not really a resident by voting or not, but you're just gonna, I'm a resident. You're just like, yeah, you could treat me like one. So when you do that, of course, then they will proceed as well.
Well, with that being said, there's going to be a part 5 because there are some documents on some websites that we wanted to go over, but I know I have to do some fathering, so to speak, right? Right, go and be with my baby and the babies, right? So what I will say is we're going to finish going through this portion of the video. We'll share briefly what we're going to go over next Sunday. It's going to be a part 5. It's going to be leaving the European here long enough to teach you government part 5. And we're going to, on that one, we'll play this video just one time through the 9.5 minutes, and then we'll go straight to the documents that analyze this. And I'll show you a little briefing of that. TT Bird says, peaceful greetings. Almond Cookie S is laughing out loud and saying, right, bearing witness and putting 100. And Jadon says, Islam kinfolks.
Whatever issue that anybody may have in any alleged tribunal, inferior court, or otherwise, I would suggest that if it's a county court, go find out well, we already told you they can only deal with their own property, but go into the annotated statutes, like he said. Once you know how to read those annotated statutes, you know what their law is, right? So now that you know that, go to their annotated statutes and find out, or even in their constitution, you check, all their authorities, and then find out what property can that said court that's trying to hold venue against you, find out what property they can deal with, and get that statute that says, oh, county can deal with county property. Okay. Can you show me? No one can show how this is county property? All right, suing y'all. Chop suey time. Who's hungry?
It's long.
There's no jurisdiction.
So you get into a courtroom, you're sitting in court, and the prosecuting attorney stands up and he says, Mr. Johnson was caught urinating on the next door neighbor's pet. You stand up and you say, if you're Mr. Johnson, you stand up and you say, I object, Your Honor. Trinzi versus Pagliaro. Statements of counsel in brief or an argument are not sufficient for summary judgment. See, the lawyer wasn't there. He doesn't know. He didn't see you piss on the neighbor's dog.
So with that being said, I in principle agree with what is being said here, because Supreme, even though it's quote unquote opinion, right? Which is the case law, right? But however, the case law is law because it says case law. So it's telling you what kind of law it is. It's law made from a case, and it stands as law because it's a decision. So since it's a standing decision, that's where you get the Latin term stare decisis. Some people say stare decisis. The stare decisis. So it's a standing decision. So since there's already been a standing decision, it's just that people are still being bullied and railroaded into these situations because they have not gotten rid of the police in their neighborhoods, the sheriffs. These people, y'all got to get rid of these beings and act accordingly. Don't harm someone else. Don't do something to someone else. Do you think that because the policy enforcers exist and the sheriffs exist and military police and these beings exist in the capacity they exist, that's why you're not harming anyone else? Or are you not harming anyone else is because that's what you don't want to do. You're not into harming beings. Are you telling me you're the type one that will do whatever the fuck you please? Because if there wasn't no police, then yeah, I'd be robbing, killing, you would? Okay, well, someone's going to make sure you receive a very fast piece of metal in your head, quickly projected from some barrel. And then you gotta, think to yourself, if you can, at that moment, people will be able to see your thoughts because you got shot in the head. That's what I'm saying. So with that being said, these are things that you should contemplate preemptively, right? And stop allowing yourselves to be forced into fear, right? Forced into fear by these gangbangers in their gang garments called a uniform, with their titty medal on their chest and their 17-shot Glock 40s. For those of them that have 17-shot Glock 40s. That's what it is on the East Coast. So with that being said, we're going to continue to look at this video. C. Thomas says Islam, the presentation is elaborated really well, brothers. He says he has a lot. He has been in and out, but he will watch again with pen and pad. Indeed, brother.
He don't know what he's talking about. It's all hearsay. So you stand up and you object, and you do this 3 times, and on the 3rd time, if the judge doesn't catch on, you take exception to it, and then later on in the course of the legal proceedings, you bring it back to that, and it'll get tossed out. There's no doubt about it. It's a slam dunk case. This isn't my opinion. This is Supreme Court rulings. This is the most powerful thing you could ever think of. And here's the thing. It does not matter what you are in court for. It doesn't matter if you're in a criminal court. It doesn't matter if you're in a civil court. It doesn't matter if you're getting sued for money or if you're getting sued for murder, if you're getting sued. It doesn't matter what it's for. You have to have a competent witness stand up and testify and say you injured him. The lawyer doesn't get to do it. In another case, a lawyer might get up and say, Mr. Flintstone stole 72 cases of paper clips. And he's just reading from his paper there. That's when you stand up and you say, objection, Your Honor, statements of counsel and brief for an argument are not sufficient for summary judgment. It's that freaking simple. The guy's got to sit down. He does not get to get up there and talk negatively about you. He don't know you. He doesn't get up there and get to say what an evil person you are because he has no first-hand knowledge. You can read it out of it's like he's reading it out of the daily newspaper. He's an idiot. And it's your job, if you want your freedom, to stand up to him and say, I object.
Right,
and
yeah.
state Trinzy versus
That's like
Peg.
that's like somebody writes a news article about you, and then you take that news article and you file a court claim. Like they said it on the newspaper, so must be true. Bring a claim against someone with a newspaper, maybe some libel or something written on there.
Yeah, that's BS, man. That's total BS. I mean, that's why, and then this is why many of us don't even go into courtrooms, so-called courtrooms, circuit courts, state courts, and the way I'm moving, I don't even think I'm gonna have to go into the federal venue because I know that when I call court, I'm gonna set the venue. Okay, yeah, we're gonna do this like this. Because I have this going on and I'm traveling, even though I need to handle this, we can do it via Zoom. I can call that because I know that, a court is no different, so-called court, the building in which they're renting is no different than the YMCA. Oh, you want to play basketball? Okay, well, we'll play at the YMCA at this time and we'll check up rock at this time. Check ball. I'm gonna shoot your lights out. You better play some D. I forgot. You're insufficiently playing. So with that being said, this is how we're going to, and this is the end of the video, of course, right? With that being said, let's do a sneak peek of what it is.
Yeah, it's that simple, folks.
It's that simple, right? So we'll come back next Sunday, play this one time through, and then we're going to go here, actually. And we're going to look at the actual case text pertaining to Trinzy versus Pagliaro, right? And the full title is John S. Trinzy Jr. versus Frank J. Pagliaro and Albert Foreman, Esquire, right? So, and it says here in summary, in Trinzy, the court stated that, quote, statements of counsel. So for me, that's statements pertaining to the attorney, the bar rat, the liar hole, the Esquire. Statements from them, statements pertaining to the bar rat, the attorney, the liar hole counsel, in their briefs or argument, while enlightening to the court, are not sufficient for purposes of granting a motion to dismiss or summary judgment. There are 3 other summaries that are there when you click on, oh, I think I hit the wrong thing here. There are 3 other summaries there, right? It also says, because that was one, I guess, used in Sunsmo versus Calkins. Then it also says, in Trinzy, the court said that statements of counsel in the briefs or argument while enlightening to the court are not sufficient for purposes of granting a motion to dismiss or summary judgment. That's Penn versus Ogg. And look, in Anderson versus M&T Bank, in Trinzy, the court found that statements by counsel were insufficient because the defendant's motion to dismiss was unsupported by affidavits or depositions and was incomplete because it requested the court to consider facts outside of the record.
See, they do that all the time. That's what okay, so they did that in my claim against the Public Utility Commission when they said that I provided certain instruments to them and that they were mine. The record does not reflect any of what you're saying. And I pointed at the record and said, hey, nothing on the record supports those statements. There's not sufficient, this is what they call it. They call it, there's not sufficient evidence on the record to support any facts or findings that so-and-so is correct, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which would mean it's not an actual fact, it's just an allegation, which is not supported for summary judgment.
Correct. And we're going to go over the opinion, right? Right. Pertaining to this, for the case details for John Nash Trinzy Jr. versus Frank J. Pagliaro and Albert Foreman, Esquire, which took place via United States District Court, Eastern Division, Pennsylvania. What'd you say?
May 28, 1964.
28th May 1964, right? Just 2 years and some change. 2 years and 6 months prior to the state highway BS. Right?
Okay, so remember last class we did that I was trying to remember what else was 1966. I remember last night. It was the Housing Act.
Got you.
The Housing Act and that Highway Act were the same year.
Lucky, Astro cookie. Right. So with that being said, guys, this is what we're going to review next Sunday, right? We're going to actually go through the entire opinion and review it. It's not that long, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 9 paragraphs, right? And then we're going to also review here at educationcenter2000.com with regards to Trinzy versus Pagliaro. We're going to see what is used to help people to comprehend what happened in Trinzy versus Pagliaro and how to further make people efficient, you know, in seeing how to utilize Supreme Court decisions in their comprehension and in their processing and outlining for when they go to write their own case. You don't necessarily have to use the whole case or just anything. You could use, like, as he was calling the holding or the specific point that's pulled out. That's like, hey, this is the only line you need. And that is, you know, statements of counsel, either in brief or statement, are insufficient.
Right, because in order to, like, if you were to write a statement on paper and then file that, in their eyes, in their courtroom, they consider that a fact, but they don't consider that an actual fact. It's still an allegation. It's a factual allegation, okay, that requires support. Gotta have some support.
Mm-hmm.
And that support comes from evidence and testimony, witnesses, which you have the right to be confronted with. You have the right to question.
Absolutely.
If they can't answer, you know how they be running off the phone? They can't answer questions on the phone. Imagine when they're on that stand.
Yeah, because they are the type, they have to go and team up with the lawyer because, you know, they got to practice what they're going to act out. in that arena. So they have to stick to the script that they practice. And I'm on some like, bro, life is impromptu improv. Not just what we do on Fridays and Sundays, because AstroCivics Sunday is, inspired by impromptu improv. Life is impromptu improv. Period. Right. So with that being said, we're going to do our invocation out. Much gratitude, says Mother Energy. Right. Indeed, we are very thankful. So we'll see you all on the continuation for this next Sunday. However, next day, which is Monday, it will be I and Brother Sean L. Right, going in on Intuition Monday. If I'm not mistaken, I think the next thing for Intuition Monday, because we already did the full moon. I think we're doing, I think it's an eclipse that's about to take place. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, there's a solar eclipse that's about to take place. If not the lunar eclipse, first, I'll double check that. But I know we're going to be going over the eclipse coming this, or if not, the Sun Jupiter Cazimi, if I remember what Brother Sean put on his schedule there, so to speak. However, Intuition Monday, all righty, guys, and we'll be on next day, or tomorrow, as some people call it. We should be on, and you guys should see us going live somewhere between 12 noon and 1300 Eastern. All right. With that, if not sooner, actually. With that being said, we'll see you guys also on Wednesday for our 7-day tropic medical astro weather report, where we'll be going in from the 6th to the 12th April. Those 7 days, right? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So those 12 days. 7 days from the 6th to the 12th, pardon me. And then Friday, if I'm not mistaken, because we just came off of what was it we just did Friday, bro? Friday, what was the title for that? Let me actually go see, man. The title for Friday was actually we did an impromptu, but okay, that's right. Friday, we're taking our virtual field trip.
Yep.
And gotta think that gotta be awesome with that Google Voice, because Google Voice allows long distance calling. So we're gonna take our virtual field trip near the Birmingham Corporation, West Midlands, near the United Kingdom, right? So we're gonna go and check out the statutes or whatever they got there, right? And see how things are and set up there. It's going to be impromptu improv fashion. So that's what's coming up on Friday. And then Sunday will be part 5, which will be the second portion to what we already showed you, which documents we'll be going over pertaining to analyzing Trinity versus Pagliaro, after playing a 9.5 minute video again. We're just going to play it through one time and tell you guys, if you want to see the analytical breakdown, to come back and look at this video that we're doing now, right? We'll tell you that next Sunday. However, with that being said, guys, we're going to do our invocation out. Islam to you also. Gratitude indeed, Slim Irvin, and Islam to you also, Brother Terrell. What we're going to do is, guys, we're going to do our invocation out, extend all 5 appendages on the left hand, just the index in the middle on the right. We're going to stand on our 45 facing east, which is symbolic, pertaining to going within, metaphysically speaking. And we're going to repeat after me, all righty? Either aloud or in your heart. Islam.
Islam.
Islam. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.
To his holy prophet.
His holy prophet.
Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali.
Ameen. We'd like to thank you all so much for joining us. You guys go and enjoy yourselves. I know that breaking fast takes place just under 20 minutes nowadays, just under 20 minutes after 7. So I think it'll be maybe about 7:17, 7:18 to breaketh the fastest today for Ramadan. Guys, I thank you all so much for having a great time with us. I'd like for you to go and enjoy when you break your fast and when you go to rest and recharge this evening. Rest and recharge well. All righty. Any other questions, comments, and or suggestions going once? Any other questions, comments, and or suggestions going twice? You saw that, Brother Horary? You got the host, man. All righty, y'all. This is where we are going to say to you all, namaste, 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 y'all. Islam, Islam, Islam. Peace and love.
Islam, peace and love, everybody.
Y'all.
Happy